What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Alex CFE, and today we have another deck profile, something that I actually personally just went undefeated with at my my local shop challenge. I got a funny story about that, but I did really well with the deck overall, kind of proud of myself, and I just think that while V is still a supported format, I might as well continue to make content for it and kind of walk you through it. I think this is actually one of the sleeper decks that people know of but don't really respect in the way that they should. We're going to be talking about Jewel Knights today. I'm going to kind of do like more of an overview kind of profile, a little bit faster than what I've kind of done in the past, just because there's so much text on all these. If I sat here and like read every single card, it would turn into like a half-hour kind of maybe profile that maybe at this point you want to just kind of go through. I feel like the real lesson to be learned here is more so a play style. There's a difference, I think, between playing this deck and truly piloting this deck. I was taught a pretty important lesson by a very good player. Shouts out to UK if you're listening, but I personally think that people don't understand some of the philosophy behind this deck, and once you kind of get that, once you understand what a lot of this deck is really about, I think something really clicks, and this can actually counter a ton of different things right now in the meta, plays well into some of the other random counter picks that are floating around in general, and just, it's like a very solitaire deck in a lot of different ways, but I feel like it's versatile in others, so I personally really like it, and yeah, let's hop right into it. So before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you are interested in purchasing any cards you see here today, we do have a TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below, absolutely no cost to you. You get chopped that link to help support the channel. I will never ask you for money, subscriptions, anything like that. It's just really not my thing. No offense to anybody who does, but it's just, you know, not what I'm kind of about. I really just want to provide value in a way, and using that link really does help me out. Additionally, you can leave a like on the video and possibly subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. That definitely helps as well. Really trying to get to 2K before the end of the year, and yeah, every sub helps. I really appreciate all the love that you guys have been showing. So with all of that good stuff out of the way, thank you for waiting through that. Let's hop right in. So here, starting off with the boss unit, you know, we see it right there. We're going to be looking at 4 of the Ashley Reverses. So Ashley Reverse is the boss unit of the deck, like I said. Really puts on like an insane amount of pressure. I want to say 90% of the time you're really going into Force 2 and allowing yourself kind of just have these insane pressure kind of turns. She essentially allows us to extend by Soul Blasting 2, locking a unit, and searching the top 4 for a unit with, I believe, yeah, Jewel Knight in its card name. And then you put the rest of the bottom deck in any order. This is important because later on into the game, if your deck is really thin, you can start rigging your deck, and you'll actually know your drive checks. On top of that too, this kind of just like is like a go long kind of play, where, you know, you're doing what you want to do. You want to actually lock your units. It gives you a huge benefit, which we'll go over in a second, but this extends your plays like crazy. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, damn, I can't like do anything right now on my turn. All of a sudden, you know, pop one of these off, all of a sudden I have more soul to get another one off, and so on and so forth, and like, it's really not difficult. I feel like there was only one time this entire shop challenge where I wasn't able to get all 3. I just kind of bricked up a little bit with a lot of triggers in my hand, but this really extends all the plays, and it's all worth it for locking your rear guards because of the second skill. When this unit attacks, basically, if you have 3 or more locked cards, you get to call 2, if you have 2 or more locked cards, actually, you get to call 2 grade 2 or less rear guards, 2 rear guard circle. Of course, it's Jewel Knight, so everything but this card has a benefit of when it's placed on top of it, so you can make units powerful, make it match the power of this. We'll go over that in just a second, but it's second skill, second part of that. If you have 3 or more locked units, this gets a Sentinel restrict, so essentially, if you're doing it correctly, on a Force 2, you should be a 58k Vanguard with 2 crits swinging at your opponent. The idea of this deck is really to just funnel everything for this swing. You're basically going balls to the wall at your opponent, slamming them with all these other cards that we're about to go on. They're little meaningless pokes, and overall, you know, we're just trying to whittle our opponent's hand size down from like the very first stages of the game. If you're playing like an insane retire deck or something that will kind of like bind things out and start to screw over your resources, like, yeah, it could be a little bit tough now, but in V-Series, Narcome's not really doing too much, so there aren't too many decks that are like insane with retiring. You know, there's little picks here and there, but I feel like this is actually really well suited for the upcoming BCS meta, and yeah, it's just a deck that I'm really enjoying because of that card. And then next up over here, all the great 3s we'll do at the same time. We're going to be looking at still 4 of the Pure Heart Jewel, which one is this? Ashley over there. The funny spelling to Ashley, but basically, this guy over here, you don't really want to ride it. If you do ride it, you know, chances are you'll probably be out of pace for the game, and maybe you could save yourself a little bit later, but really not the ideal ride target. We want this on rearguard circle, essentially to Soul Blast 2, and then search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 card, call it to rearguard circle, and then just poke again. So you're getting like a lot of multi-attacks out of this deck through this card. There are going to be times where you can't really go into this. Don't force this play if it doesn't feel natural, if your soul's not in like a great spot overall, if you don't think that you can like kind of at least transpire to a next turn with like a decent soul size in general. But this really does help us kind of keep up that poke, keep up that momentum. If it is on Vanguard Circle, you get to call 2 instead of 1 rear guard, so just it is solid for that, but don't really have to ride it if you if you can avoid it, don't ride it. Lastly, over here, I think it still is important to include one of leading Jewel Knight Salome. We have like one flex spot essentially in the deck, and this really that is for this. If you go, I think, second and your opponent's already on grade 3, you can then actually spam your field again, restand this, kind of just go swing at them again. Like it's really solid still. I feel like at the 1 of, it's fine. Like this is an alternate ride target. Again, you're like 95% of the time going to be on Ashley, hopefully. But if you are in the right position at the right time, go force 1, go into this, restand your Vanguard, swing a bunch of times with rear guards. Like it's all good. So yeah, just that one alternative is fine overall. Let's clear this out and get into the grade 2s now. And again, you're really just trying to put that pressure on throughout all stages of the game. And the rest of these cards really are huge facilitators of this. So over here, we're going to have 4 of the how do you say this? Dogmatized Jewel Knight Sybil. Sybil's actually really good. They're all these cards, actually, the newer ones are very good in general. Basically, you get to extend a lot with this. When you swing on Van or a rear, this is also a card that you do want to ride on Van just because it actually does have a skill and can help you kind of extend a little bit further, hopefully draw into the Ashley reverse if you don't have it. But when it attacks, you basically put a grade 2 or less into your soul, and then you draw a card. Again, fueling your soul, drawing a card, digging deeper, very good. Auto on Van or Rearguard Circle also. When another unit is placed on this guy, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, take up to 1 grade 2 or less card with Jewel Knight, and then you basically call it the rear, put the rest on the bottom deck in any order. So again, just a great extension play overall, really useful just to kind of get the pieces that you do need. It's a good ride target, it's everything you kind of want. And if you are looking to have more of a farm turn, kind of turn some stuff from your hand into potentially a little bit more shield or whatever, you can kind of just pop these down off of the Ashley reverse. It's completely up to you. Next up over here too, probably like the main unit you do want to be calling most of the time, and just this is probably the best grade 2. I'll say it like that, I guess. But this is going to be Banding Jewel Knight. What is this? Miranda. Miranda is good for 2 different reasons, and it's essentially a resource kind of card, and B, also like one of your finishers if your Vanguard does not get it done. So over here, when this unit attacks while not boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Jewel Knight in its card name, counterblast 1, choose one of your Vanguards until the end of the battle, increase or decrease that unit's this unit's power to match that unit. So again, your Vanguard should be a 58k column if everything goes right, and it's not just the end of battle, it like retains that power. You swing with this over here and you get to counterblast 1 and you match that 58. So if you've rode Ashley twice, this is on a force 2, you could swing with this, kind of do a Jewel Knight Ashley, call over it again, do another one, and also if you are out of counterblast, the second skill really does come in handy, and the fact that the first skill does too. I mean, the first part of the second skill also is really great. But auto on Van or Rearguard Circle, when your unit is placed on this unit circle, you get to soul charge 1. If you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, counter charge 1. So this is like the real zinger. It makes it so that you still need to have an open counterblast. Like you can't spam multiple attacks of Miranda before you go into Ashley reverse, but you can do 1 Salome, go down, put something over this so that it counter charges. Maybe this is the second copy of Miranda. You'll do that soul charge, you'll do that counter charge, and then you swing with the Ashley reverse, and then you swing with this over here once it's called down off of that. So really solid card in general. I might have just spoken out of turn there, but when you're playing, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's hard to kind of just remember off the top of my head, but in general, A, it gets you the resources you always need, and then B, it also becomes like this absolutely giant kind of card. So really one of the big closers of the deck. Super good. A card that is like a little bit more mid-range in general. This is more like farming. This one is closeout and also resource generation mid-turn, which is great, but this is kind of like a longer play, and also for your resources, but also like a mid-battle kind of power-up as well. And this is also one of the only units that can early on kind of hit a 13k Vanguard. So this is, again, the original Jewel Knight for V-Series. Explore Jewel Knight Lale or something like that, I think. Auto on Rearguard Circle. When it attacks, put 2 normal units from your drop into the bottom of your deck in any order. Soul Charge 1, this guy gets 5k until the end of battle. So this is great in culmination with Ashley, because Ashley does Soul Blast out those 2, and sometimes, Soul Blast out the 2, and like sometimes it's just not possible to kind of sit there and like spend those 2, and this really helps put that back, as well as kind of fixing your deck a little bit later. You're gonna see you go through your deck like super fast. If the game goes like 3 grade 3 turns, like you'll actually need this to kind of survive and just make sure that you have units to kind of stay in deck so you don't deck out, so it's good for that. And then second skill, auto on Vanguard rearguard circle. When your other unit is placed on this unit circle, that placed unit gets 10k until the end of turn. You know, this is okay if you ride this, because the Ashley Reverse will get the additional 10k, and helping out your Miranda a little bit later as well. It's just good at like pretty much all times in the game. A little bit more mid-range, like I said, a little bit more kind of just like farming, resources, extension, and a little bit more closeout, and just aggressive, also able to get resources. So the grade 2 lineup is super spectacular. That's like the main units I like to kind of put back into the deck. Over here, getting into the grade 1s, the original grade 1 over here, still the Charging Jewel Knight. How do you say this again? Morvidus? I think that's how to say it. Act on rearguard circle, counterblast 1, put a normal unit from your drop zone onto the bottom of your deck, and you soul charge 1 until the and one of your units with Jewel Knights in its card name get 5k until the end of turn. So it is a little annoying with the counterblast to do that, but you do get to a little bit early on soul charge at least, and get units back into your deck that you might need later on. One of your Jewel Knights also get the 5k, so it's just a little bit of extension, a little bit of power up, which is really, really nice. And then auto on Vanguard rearguard circle. When your other unit's placed on this unit circle, draw a card. That's like really the main draw of it all. You know, if you need that Soul Blast to kind of extend, that's fine. But otherwise, don't always be looking to spam that counterblast skill. The calling on top of is like absolutely great. You put this into the drop zone, because you see how many units need to have normal units in the drop zone even to use their skills. So definitely just, you know, this is an exchange from hand almost. It is technically, I think, like in deck 1, or even, I forget off the top of my head, but you place it down, ride over it with something, you can call over it with the Ashley Reverse in that case, and you're not really negging from hand necessarily, because you will be drawing over there. Also, this is a great ride target, especially if you don't have the Ashley Reverse in hand. You just pop this down, ride right over it onto the grade 2, get to draw again, because we don't have the grade 3 searches in here. Like it is hard sometimes to get the Ashley Reverse. If you don't see that, it is, you know, a really bad change of place. Like you can, or change of pace, I'm sorry, you can end the game on your first grade 3 turn. Like you should be trying to do that against, I want to say, like 80% of decks, and this whole strategy of just like, you know, digging deeper, getting to that Ashley Reverse, being as aggressive as you can, like spam all of your units when you have them, like straight up just call things from your hand, because eventually, even if they end up in the drop, all your cards need stuff in the drop. When they're called over, things are called over them, they still benefit from it. Like it's just really, really good. Next up here too, again, an original, I think this was the second wave of Jewel Knight support, not 100% sure off the top of my head, but this is Fruiting Jewel Knight, Eunice, I think that's how to say. Yeah, Eunice over here. Just a little hard for me to read sometimes, I'm sorry. But essentially, at the end of this unit, at the end of the battle this unit boosted, you put one normal unit from the drop into the bottom of your deck. Soul charge 1, you may return this unit to your hand. So this is good for, again, early rushing. You just need to make sure you have like a normal unit in the drop. And I think when I'll again mention it when the grade 0 comes up, but once I think History Collection comes out, we're getting a Jewel Knight grade 0 if I'm not mistaken. It will actually enable this one to go live a lot earlier, making it a lot better. So as of right now, the recording of this video, History Collection is not out. The grade 0 Jewel Knight isn't there, but you know, this will actually become a lot better once that does happen. And then also, when your other unit is placed on this unit circle, choose one of your opponent's rear guard in the same column as this placed unit, retire it, and then if no cards were retired, you get to draw a card. So again, sometimes you just need to extend into that right piece, and this is a card that can kind of help you get there in general with that additional draw, as well as just like retiring some stuff. Like maybe sometimes there's like pesky stuff, you know, odd chance that they have like what is it, protect 2 or some like odd kind of intercept abilities and whatnot. This could help you deal with that. Next up over here too, lastly, this is the last grade 1, the best card almost in this deck, really the whole thing that kind of elevated this to an actual like relevant kind of status in the meta, in my opinion. Security Jewel Knight Alwyn. So Alwyn skill, act on rearguard circle, you rest this unit, rest this unit, put this normal unit from your drop onto the bottom of your deck, and you soul charge 1, choose one of your Vanguards, gets an extra 5k, and then when your other units place on the circle, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to one of them with Jewel Knight from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So again, extension as well as the soul charge, like the on-demand soul charge is so big in this, and it's not a counterblast, it's not mid-battle or anything like that. This is just a straight up rest soul charge, and the idea of it at the end of the day is really that these are gonna be the units that get locked. You want to have them on the field, you want them protected. Pretty much you just put them in the back row, do your thing. You're at least guaranteed to kind of get at least one of the soul blasts off, and the chances are, like, if you have all 3 of these, you'll never have an issue kind of locking out all of your field for the 3 at least, and kind of getting that Sentinel restrict off. So really the best card, one of the best cards period in this deck. Let me see if I get the light a little better on that. Now it's hard to do it, sorry, but maybe I'll just fix it in editing if I can. But over here, yeah, this is the grade 1 lineup, super consistent throughout. Like, you really don't misride necessarily. I've never G assisted out of the past, like, I want to say like 25 games I played with this, I've never G-assisted for anything. Very balanced deck in that regards, and just super good overall. And again, you do need the grade 0. When the grade 0 for the Jewel Knights come out, it is important to have that Jewel Knight name for a lot of these skills, so definitely replace it. But for right now, just the Shining Knight, Milius, or any of the grade 0s really work, the starters. Hopping right into the trigger lineup, just continuing on with the momentum, we are going to have 4 of the Heal Guardians. You don't want to take a ton of damage. I think once you have 2 Counter Blasts, you're kind of set up for pretty much any turn, whether that's early, late. Don't take too much. Again, we're going to be popping down our hand too, hopefully to just put a lot of pressure on our opponent early. You want to play and rush people down, as I keep on saying over and over. This is actually something that really doomed me this weekend. So I went undefeated in Swiss 4 rounds, and then, oh my god, I forgot I had 6 freaking draws in my deck. So I put 8 in my deck log. I signed up on Bushy Navi and I couldn't edit it. You know, it was a really unfortunate situation, but I got DQ'd from the top 4 when we decided to top 4 cut. So I'm running 6 draw and 6 crit also. It's just so important to see your pieces. For your grade 2, also the one that tucks into soul, the 5k is like a great shield to kind of do that. Just put something into your soul, it's fine. You're not really going to miss any of that shield from hand. So, and it can help you get into other pieces as well. But the pressure is there, the draw power is there. I feel like overall this is just like such a great deck. I have a ton of fun with it. I think that you guys, once you kind of get that philosophy of like, okay, throw your hand down, kind of push. You have to know matchups, absolutely, but there's so many times where like, I forgot if I mentioned in the beginning of this video, but it's like, what is really good right now? It's like a marker spam meta, and because of that, I feel like Chaos Breaker is like a really great kind of counter to that. If you play against Chaos Breaker, what are they going to do? They're going to lock your cards. They're going to fulfill some of your your requirement for Ashley Reverse automatically, on top of just taking away 1 marker. Like, you don't care, you just want a marker on your Vanguard circle. Hopefully you can reride every single turn, kind of generate that again. And if you have locked units, you know, you're just swinging 58k or 43k, whatever it is, based on how many things you have open. I mean, how many times you could actually like buff up your Vanguard. So there's so many ways to kind of give it power, give additional effects, and just kind of survive through so many different situations. And I feel like if you go first with this, there's absolutely no deck in V right now that you cannot beat if played correctly. Obviously Vanguard, you know, things happen, but this is such a great deck overall. And thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have any comments, any thoughts on V in general. I put my post up not too long ago, but we'll see if it's matured at this point by the time I want to release this video or not. So thank you guys so much again. This is Alex from AlexCFV signing out.